Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I am Dimitri and this is MG Owners Australia. And finally it is time for us to kind of switch gears from my MG HS Essence, my car, and switch it over to this lovely little, well, relatively little MG ZST Essence, top of the range, that we bought at the same time as I bought my HS for my wife. We have two MGs in the family. If you're just joining us and you do not know the context, we are private owners of two MGs, both white, both gorgeous, both top of the range. Both cars are coming to 3 months of kind of intense use in the family. I know that 5,000 kilometers roughly that both of these cars are kind of reaching. It is nothing on a global scale of things, and of course it's not a very long-term usage report. But at the same time, as I maintain kind of this view and this position, first 3 months is probably when you familiarize yourself with the cars the most. Would you agree with me? Please leave a comment. I welcome everyone's opinions always on this channel, so you are most welcome here as well. So in my view, the first 3 months is when you get to know the car. You get used to different kinks, different things that might not work for you very well. I certainly spoke enough about different kinks and imperfections of HS, as well as the great stuff about HS. I still love my car. Now, what about this ZST? Admittedly, I personally don't drive it every day. I drive it once a week or something like that, but that's mostly my wife's car. But I hear her feedback and I have certain level of exposure to the car myself. First of all, I still believe that ZST, this ZST, in the top of the range model with all the leather, with all the everything, it is certainly not as luxurious as MG HS is. Leather is not real leather, it's vinyl, but very good vinyl. That's probably the main thing that kind of sticks out to me. 360-degree camera that is built in here is not as high quality, noticeably not as high quality as it is in MGHS. Those kind of things, that is, I think, the most obvious stuff that you can see if you start comparing two models of MGs together side by side, with a little price difference, of course. But other than that, I would say that ZST feels like a much more modern car for 2022 and much more polished product overall, much more modern product, almost like HS must have been a model of 2020, let's say, somewhere there, you know, at MG kind of headquarters, and they started rolling them out. I'm speculating, by the way, I don't know, tell me in the comments down below, maybe I'm close to the truth here, but it does feel like MGHS, with all its luxuriousness and everything, it still is not as modern. I'm not gonna call, I kind of resisted here the urge of calling ZST cutting edge. It's not cutting edge, but at the same time, it is a lot more modern, it is a lot more funky, sporty, it has edginess to it in a good sense of the word. It has this lovely sporty red stitching. No, it doesn't have a red sport mode button on the steering wheel, but not like anyone needs it. The engine, it's not like the engine is going to put out significantly more power with that button. I think it's a gimmick in HS, by the way, while we're talking about it. But overall, the red sporty brakes, the shape of the car, the slightly more kind of white shark type of shape of the car. I know it's very subjective, but I love this car, even though I don't drive it every day. Every single time I drive it, especially after almost full-time driving my HS, I feel so much sportier, so much zippier, so much, I would dare say, younger on the road. I hope you don't mind me using that analogy, and I hope it helps someone. Now, more on features. Let's talk a little bit more on features of ZST. Not necessarily versus HS, just what can I comment on here as kind of averagely sized male using this car. Here, I don't know, is it because of the sunroof, is it because of something else, but it definitely feels that for a person who is 175 centimeters tall, it is a cozy space. It's not claustrophobic, it's not tight, especially with the amount of sun, with the amount of light that comes through, including through the shade here above. Yeah, it's not completely blocking out the sun when the shade is on, it's on now. It does feel like a cozy space. I already said it in the first video, my opinion hasn't changed over these 5,000 kilometers of the car being in the family. ZST is a lot zippier and a lot faster to change lanes in, to traverse the traffic, the busy traffic of Sydney, let's say, Australia, in. So I think that if you don't have a massive family and massive concerns for space inside, how much space people need to travel over long distances, then I would say that for the city use, this car is so much better and cheaper than HS. Additional to that, I keep returning to the feeling of luxury. Yes, HS would always win over ZST in terms of luxury finishes, real leather, all that kind of stuff. It will. But at the same time, HS is a cruiser. HS is something that you need either when you need a lot more space inside, because it's considerably roomier, HS, compared to ZST. Considerably roomier, right? This is much tighter. It's for a very small family. It's for 2 people. It's for a single person with a few bags here and there and stuff like that. That's what this car is for. We bought this car top of the range end of 2021 for $32,000. 32. Top of the range, sunroof, vinyl leather, beautiful steering wheel. It's a wonderful car. I'm a big fan of ZST. I watched some other owners' reviews of ZST before buying the car, you know, and kind of was in touch with the... We don't have a community of owners, unfortunately, by the way. Ping me in the comments if you would like us to more formally engage and start one. I would love to have friends who are also driving MGs, in Australia especially, but doesn't have to be just in Australia. And those people who had the cars before me, a lot of them at least, they were critiquing same things that I picked up on. Poor infotainment system, kinda useless automatic wipers that don't detect rain properly, other things. You saw those videos, right? But I heard also a lot of criticism for quality of interiors, such as the cheaper plastic on the air vents, for example, that apparently, allegedly, gets scratched very easily. Well, my friends, my whole family has been using both cars, both MGHS and the ZST, for 3 months, rather intensely, driving up the coast, driving around town in this car, and I can tell you that there is not a single scratch. Not a single scratch that I would see. Yes, there are some on the I suppose on the doors here. You can see a little bit, but this happens even in a lot more expensive cars. I'm going to give a simple example. Volkswagen. Volkswagen gets priced at least 10 grand for this kind of set of features more than this car, and it has exactly, if not worse, same situation with the plastic, cheaper plastic as it gets referred to, on some finishes. But yet, please pay attention to the fact that the stitching, all of this stuff, that's not plastic. This is not plastic. This is sort of synthetic cloth of very kind of sturdy nature to it. I absolutely love it. I love it optically, and I love it in terms of the finish. So I'm touching it right now. I can tell you none of this stuff wants to come undone. So that is hopefully an insight for you as well, which is of a certain value. I went for a drive in this car, and I tried to set the camera similarly, a little bit here from a different angle, obviously from kind of behind me, hoping that this microphone and the position of the camera would allow me to also convey the driving experience to you, similar to how I've done with my MGHS a few weeks ago. You can take a look on the channel. I was talking as I was driving. And I can tell you, unfortunately, that experiment failed. So best I can leverage from that footage accumulated is to overlay it without sound a little bit while I'm talking in the background here, and sort of to give you a little bit of volume and sense of how the person sits, how the car sort of feels as it starts moving. Road noise and sort of rattling of this contraption that I use here to hold my camera so that it's hands-free. You know, we are not supposed to touch our phones as we drive in Australia, which is a good principle as well. In case you're wondering, I do not hand hold my phone. And it didn't work out very well, so I apologize for that. But that's what those overlays, little overlays, are for you, to give you a bit more of a volume of what ZST feels like. I'm a big fan of ZST. I think it's a great product. I think for Australian market, early 2022, I am not aware of any other car that in the same level of luxury, leather steering wheel, sunroof, beautiful sports brakes, generally very good build quality, and so on and so forth. I am not aware of any other car that offers the same value for money. If you are, it's not a point of argument. Just let me know in the comments down below, so I might review it. I might compare the vehicles, and I would be more than happy to do that. I would be more than happy to hear out your impressions. Final point from me before we wrap up for today. A couple of people at the very least respectfully told me, look, we tried the MG. I was not quite sure, by the way, if they tried ZST or MGHS, but I suppose the same kind of pattern is recognizable in both cars. Essentially what those people are saying is that the engines are weak, that the 1.2 or 1.3, I'm not quite sure off the top of my head, this ZST engine, turbo petrol engine, and 1.5 liter turbo petrol engine in my HS are simply not powerful enough. They simply don't give you enough power if you floor it, so to speak. Hey, I'm not judging of how you drive your cars and how you try to measure the value of it, etc., etc. But MG, other than being a sporty brand originally from England, I would say that there is a sporty feel to it. There is a sporty spirit to it. And in the busy traffic where you don't speed up higher than 70 kilometers an hour anyway in the busy traffic, you don't need more of a power, more of a zippiness to sort of be a high-performing vehicle. If you, again, bought the right tool for the right job, if you're not trying to, I don't know, hammer in a nail with a screwdriver. Do you know what I'm saying? So if you take this car for what it is and not what you'd like it to be, you with me? If you assess it fairly, if you assess it for what it is, and especially my friends, in the price category of what you're getting for 32 grand with all of this gorgeousness, then you will maybe align with me a little bit more. Perhaps I'm trying to not even just convince you, but offer you a very healthy perspective that seems to be missing those people. They say, it's too weak, rubbish, whatever. What are we comparing to here, my friend? What are we comparing to? And in what price category? That is very important for you, both to those people as a response from me, respectfully, as you are respectful to me, I'm respectful to you, but also to those of you who might be swayed and might think, the car is rubbish, whatever. It's far from rubbish. It's far from rubbish. It's a gorgeous, wonderful car, perfectly fitting for city use and not for drag racing, my friends. And of course, I will continue checking in with you about how the car, this ZST and MGHS, my MGHS, how both cars are performing over time as we get more kilometers and as we discover more and more features and whatever else happens to the cars. So please subscribe, please leave a comment. Let's start comparing vehicles. I think that's a fun topic for us. I just need to possibly your help to decide what to compare this to. Your homework, my friends, if you're still here listening to me, first of all, you're the best. Second of all, your homework is to let me know, what do you think in Australia specifically, but let me know if you're overseas, it's fine. Let me know, what do you think is a car that compares to this in terms of quality and what it gives to the owner as far as the luxury value, basically value, in this roughly the same price category. And I promise, I can't make promises that I'll review it, but I promise that I will consider it. I will consider and research and see if I can compare two cars side by side, so it's a bit more interesting for us. Thanks very much for tuning in today. ZST is a good car. Really love it. My wife loves it. Hopefully you would too. Talk to you soon. Subscribe if you haven't already. Bye for now.